call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
struggle as to strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said,
A very beautiful morning to you and welcome to Global TV AM News. I am Judith Peters. In Nigeria's capital, Abuja, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has won that nullifying the February 25th election that produced him as president on account of the fact that he did not score 25% of the lawful votes cast during the election in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, could lead to absurdity, chaos, anarchy, and alteration of the very intention of the legislature. Tinubu told the Presidential Election Petition Court that the two petitions filed by candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, and his counterpart of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, seeking the nullification of his victory at the February 25th presidential election, are not only novel but not familiar with the country's electoral law. Tinubu's submission were contained in his final written address against the two petitions pending at the PREPEC. The five-member panel had on July 5th given the respondent in the two separate petitions 10 days to file their written address, while the petitioners were given 7 days to reply. The panel led by Justice Haruna Samani gave the order shortly after Tinubu, Shettima, and the All Progressive Congress closed their defense in the two petitions, as it would be recalled that the Independent National Electoral Commission had closed its case a day earlier. Among the reliefs, the seek in the nullification of the Tinubu's election on the grounds that INEC did not substantially comply with the guidelines and regulation for the conduct of the 2023 general election and relevant electoral laws. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Sunday in Nairobi, Kenya, reaffirmed Africa's unity and strength while strongly rejecting the notion of a new scramble for African. Our correspondent Prince Adegoke with this story reports that
toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Sunday, Kenya reaffirmed Africans' unity and strength, while strongly rejecting the notion of a new scramble for African. According to a statement by Dele Alake, Special Advisor to the President on Special Duties, Communications and Strategy, the President warned that past plundering and exploitation of the continent should remain in the past and never be repeated. Speaking at the 5th mid-year coordination meeting of the African Union, the regional economic communities and the regional mechanism and the African Union member states, the President announced plans to strengthen the ECOWAS standby force to deter coups and combat terrorism in the sub-region. The Nigerian leader, in his capacity as the chairperson of the ECOWAS Authority of the Heads of State and Government, highlighted the progress made by ECOWAS in various sectors of its integration process, including trade, free movement of persons, investment promotion, infrastructure development, and security. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Kenya called on African leaders to respect democracy, rule of law, and ensure political stability in a statement at a high event organized by the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP. On the margins of 5th mid-year last year African Union coordination meeting, the President urged African military institutions and states to recognize and respect the need for the democratic renewal. The Nigerian leader, who is also the chairperson of ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, said coup d'etat should be discouraged in the continent, especially in the face of challenges like the COVID-19 pandemic, insecurity, climate change. The President, a statement presented by Adamu Ibrahim Lamoua, the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, said it was regrettable that West Africa, despite its numerous instruments and mechanisms for promoting democracy and good governance, is leading other regions in the use of unconstitutional means. Replacement and humanitarian crisis. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, DLEA, at the Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, have arrested a 19-year-old student, Benjamin Nnamdi Deberechi, for attempting to exploit 7.2 kilograms of methamphetamine concealed in crayfish to Europe, where he was going for undergraduate studies. The teenage suspect was intercepted on Wednesday, 12th July, during an outward clearance of passengers on Turkish airline flight TK0624. While being interviewed by operatives, Deberechi claimed he was a student on his way to Cyprus for studies. But upon a thorough search of his luggage, he was found in possession of 7.2 kg of whitish substance neatly concealed inside a sack of crayfish. A false test of the substance, however, proved positive to methamphetamine in the same vein. Operatives of the Tican Port Command of the agency on Tuesday, 11 July, intercepted 116.5 kg consignment of Colorado, a strong strain of cannabis concealed in bags hidden in a heap of used vehicles parked on the floor of a container marked FCIU 8459700, bearing 3 units of used vehicles imported from Toronto, Canada. Based on intelligence, the agency had requested for a 100% examination of the container, which arrived at the TICT terminal of the port on 14th June. A joint examination with the Nigeria Customs, DSS, and other stakeholders on Tuesday, 11 July, however, led to the discovery of 233 parcels of the illicit substance stashed inside traveling bags on the floor of the container covered with a used vehicle spare parts. The chairman, Palliative Committee on Subsidy Removal and Kebbi Governor, Dr. Nasir Idris, has assured Nigerians that efforts were on to cushion the effect of the subsidy removal. The governor gave the assurance when members of the committee met in Abuja on Saturday. This contained in a statement by the governor's spokesman, Ahmed Idris. The meeting had in attendance Governors Bala Mohammed of Bauchi, Charles Soludo of Anambra, Ubasani of Kaduna, and Haisindu Ali of Benue, as well as representatives of the organized labor and civil society organization. The chairman assured the Nigerians would have a cause to smile soon, as the committee was doing its best to bring succor and case current difficulties. It could be recalled that on June 19th, the federal government and the leadership of the NLC and the TUC agreed that all the issues and demands related to palliative should be concluded within 8 weeks. The governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, has announced a new minimum wage of 40,000 naira for workers in the state to ease the pains caused by the removal of fuel subsidy. Hope Uzodinma made the announcement during a special meeting with the critic Imo stakeholders on Saturday in Owerri, the state capital. The governor also announced 5 billion revolving loan for farmers, as well as free transportation and medical care. The governor said the free transportation, feeding, and medical care were for civil servants. He said other palliatives include the establishment of marketing and commodity boards, mass housing, and recruitment of most teachers. Hope Uzodinma said that the government had also initiated a scholarship scheme for Imo students, while retirees will be paid promptly. He expressed confidence that the measures would stimulate the economy, create additional jobs, and enhance workers' wages. The speakers of House of Representatives, the Representative Tajuddin Abbas, said on Saturday in Zaria, Kaduna State, that the 10th National Assembly would create a constitutional role for traditional rulers in the country. The speaker stated this when he paid homage to the Emir of Zazu, Ambassador Ahmed Bamili. Abbas, who was welcomed to the palace with a colorful duba, said the majority of members of the current House of Representatives understood the importance of the traditional institution in the country. He noted that members would do the needful to ensure a role was created for the traditional rulers in the constitution. He expressed appreciation to the Emir, the traditional chiefs, and the people of Zazu's emirate of the warm reception accorded him on his first homecoming. As a Speaker of the House of Representatives, in his remark, the Emir of Zazu said the request for roles for traditional rulers in the Constitution was not an attempt to create another tier of government. A former Kaduna lawmaker and social-political commentator, Shehu Sani, says the declaration of emergency on food security exposed what he called the deception of the rice pyramid and the futility of closing the land borders. Sani stated this in a statement via his verified Twitter handles on Sunday. According to Sani, Nigeria cannot have food security with farmers being slaughtered by terrorists. The former senator expressed worry that with bandits forcing the farming communities by pay levies, the country cannot have food security. Recall that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had declared a state of emergency on food security in the country. The declaration was made to mitigate the hardship experienced by Nigerians following the removal of fuel subsidy. The policy was introduced following Tinubu's wide consultation with stakeholders in the food and agricultural value chain, co-opting the Central Bank of Nigeria, Customers Farmers Association, key financial experts, among others. The senator representing Kaduna Central Senatorial Zone, Lawal Adamu Usman, has denied allegations of forged academic certificates as part of documents represented to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. During the 2023 election process, the All Progressive Congress, APC, is challenging the victory of the PDP senator on the grounds that he did not attend some schools he claimed his INEC nomination from of the witnesses. A former student of the Department of Public Administration, Amir Shehu Idris, College of Advanced Studies, Zaria, Alima Ibrahim, and Danusa, in a recent story published by Leadership newspaper, claimed that the serving senator results to gain admission into a university. In his reaction, Senator Usman, in a two-page letter through his solicitors, Messrs. E.N. Obu and Associates, said the story published on July 12, 2023 with the caption, "Kaduna Senator used my result for varsity admission." Witness tells Tribunal in libels and defamatory, which has resulted in the senator threatening legal action. Lawal will condemn immediate retraction of the story, fight for damages in the sum of 1 billion naira against the newspaper for publishing an article targeted at tarnishing his image and reputation. Edo State government has allocated 100 hectares of land in Oriomon local government area of the development of a state-run correctional facility. The state governor disclosed this during the inauguration of Justice Daniel Okungbowa as the Chief Judge of Edo State at the weekend. Obaseki urged Okungbowa to fast-track the setting up of mobile court, embark on visits to correctional centers, and expedite trials, among other steps, to congest the correctional facilities and provide justice for those awaiting trials for years. Adding that the state government believes that the correctional facility will set the template, an example of all what state correctional facilities should look like when it is completed under the tenure of the newly inaugurated Chief Judge of the state. The Indian High Commission to Nigeria has revealed that no fewer than Nigerians are departing the shores of the country between mid-July and early August for university education in India. The envoy, Shri Bala Subramania, reviewed this at an orientation program for the 20 beneficiaries, urging them to be good ambassadors of Nigeria to India by being well-mannered and prioritizing their studies. The High Commissioner further reviewed that the scholarships are fully sponsored by the government of India. The Indian government has yearly since 1958 been sponsoring Nigerians to study at various Indian universities under the Indian Council Cultural Religions (ICCR) scholarship program, which has seen several thousands of students worldwide and over 1,000 Nigerians benefiting from the scheme. And this is the AM News on Global TV, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Would like to remind you we are on South Times channel 276 and urge you to follow us across social media platforms at Global TV NG. When our AM News returns, Governor Ademola Adeleke of Osun State urges banks to reopen for business. We'll tell you all about that and more, including sports, right after this break. Be sure to stay with us.
Welcome to Global Morning here on
Welcome to the AM News.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies to, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The
legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rate as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
The National Assembly is something that must be gotten right.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from...
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
We struggled, we had to strike.
The Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.
Thanks for staying with us. Governor Ademola Adeleke of Osun State has appealed to administrators of the commercial banks to reopen their branches across the state, assuring them of an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. The governor made this pledge during the commissioning of the rebuilt Ede branch of First Bank of Nigeria on Friday. Adeleke stressed his administration commitment to growing the private sector and creating opportunities for businesses to flourish, adding that the state has restructured its security architecture, making major towns and villages safer for business activities. He urged top bank management to reconsider opening their branches, highlighting that despite the availability of digital applications, physical offices are still essential in many towns. The federal government says there are over 9,000 licensed filling stations across the country that are fit for the co-location of facilities that dispense autogas fuel. It disclosed this in a communique issued by the Nigeria Institute of Transport Technology at the end of the Stakeholders Engagement Forum on the provision of technical manpower and facility for the development and promotion of autogas as transportation fuel in Nigeria. The conference with the team autogas as an alternative for transportation in Nigeria shows that there was a need for alternative options for the transportation fuels such as liquefied natural gas, liquefied petroleum gas, and compressed natural gas known as autogas, which should become widely used and accepted as an alternative automotive fuel. The company stated that Nigeria gas reserves were about 209 trillion cubic feet, adding that gas production was between 8.15 to 8.35 billion standard cubic feet day, which was more than enough for the nation. The International Labour Organization, ILO, has said it is committed to supporting the Tinubu-led administration to create over 2 million digital jobs to reduce unemployment. ILO's country director for Nigeria, Ghana, Liberia, and Sierra Leone, Vanessa Fowler, spoke during the commemoration of the 2023 World Youth Skill Day in Abuja, team empowering youth for sustainability future. Building skill for tomorrow. Fowler said the digital economy has become an integral part of Nigerians' daily lives, thereby shaping the industrial sector and creating more opportunities. And that's it on the AM News. You enjoy the rest of the day. Do not forget to follow us on all social media platforms. It's Global TV NG, and on StarTimes we are on 276. I am Judith Peters. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Welcome to Global Morning here on
Welcome to the AM News.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring the policies to, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.